How about Biru? Okay, everybody, I hope everyone can hear me okay. I am just kind of getting everything finalized before we go live and you get to see my ugly mug on camera and show off the OTTO V2 and V5 lever upgrades for the Sanwa JLF. So give me a little thumbs up in the chat if y'all can hear me okay and you see that it is 6:12 p.m. here in Japan and you get to see the stream, all that good happy stuff on the screen without any problems. And we'll probably start here in about 1 to 2 minutes. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Jason, and I haven't streamed a lot lately. For that, I definitely apologize. Unfortunately, my normal day job, work is crazy, and if I leave for, about 6:30 in the evening, that's a good day. Today happened to be one of those good days, and I'm very excited it was because I'm super excited to kind of show off the OTTO DIY V2 and V5 kits that I recently put up on the website for sale. We're taking pre-orders on those and they'll be shipping out early December, hopefully a little bit sooner. But we're getting a lot of questions about it because this is uncharted territory for a lot of people. And these are upgrades for the JLF that not a lot of people have seen before. And as a matter of fact, I think they're some of the first. We're used to the upgraded springs. We're upgrading the gates, putting shorter shafts, longer shafts, hollow shafts, oversized actuators, silent switches, cherry switches, all these things, but this is the first time we've actually really seen anything that upgrades the body and the actuator, as well as the pivot, in kind of all one big kit, if you will. So I'm excited to show that off tonight. I really do like these products. If I didn't, I wouldn't sell them in my shop, and I wouldn't have partnered with OTTO DIY to bring them to the community in the US. So if I can get a quick thumbs up out from Twitch land, just to make sure that the audio is good. I'd hate to kind of go through this and you guys can't hear me. I am using a different mic today. I'm using my nice wireless mic. You might be able to see it right here. And you will see that I'm wearing my super sweet Street Fighter hoodie that I got from arcadeshop.com. I got it this September when I was back in the States for work, and I wear this thing every day. Now that the temperatures are cooler, it provides, you know, some great warmth. It's waterproof, and it just looks cool. It's very plain, it's understated, and that's what I like about it. The print on it is awesome. It's got like this rubber kind of print. It's fantastic. But you can check that out on arcadeshop.com, and while you're there, check out all their other cool stuff they got. They've got buttons and fight sticks and all that awesome stuff. They help me out a lot. When I need parts, that's who I go to, and I can't recommend them enough. So with that, let's go ahead and look at this kit and kind of go through it a little bit, because I know that's what everyone's here for, and I'm excited to show it off. But first, we're going back old school. I used to do this a lot on stream, you know, crack a cold one, drink a beer, and now that I'm in Japan, I can actually get good Japanese beer pretty easily. So, yeah, we're gonna get a little of this in us tonight. Chin chin. All right, so let's go ahead and shift this over to the build cam. We'll put me down here in this tiny little box, and you guys can see everything I've got laid out here. So here is a Sanwa JLF. This is brand new, out of the box. I have a box of about 50 of them over here that I just got from Sanwa this past weekend. I am going to be offering fully built kits, or fully assembled JLFs with the V2 and V5 kits. They're going to be awesome. So I had to buy some of these direct from Sanwa. Being here in Japan makes that super easy, and I like that. So this is brand new. We'll go ahead and take this out, toss that in the trash, and there you go. Nothing super fancy about this. I've got some other things laid out here on the desk too. I've got this Shin-Etsu grease. This is pretty common for the arcade market. You do need this to install the kit. However, you are going to get this with the kit for free, or well, with the kit rather. And it's going to come in a little container about, you know, yay big. And we're going to put, you know, we've got these fancy Jasen's custom stickers, which it looks like it's blown out of the camera, with the logo and the Shin-Etsu on as well. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And then, depending on what kit you get, you're going to have a combination of all of these parts that I just tossed here on the desk. So we're going to go through this methodically, and I want to show kind of the common parts of the kits first. Then we'll show what's special in each kit as we go through. So first things first, you are going to get these two gates. They are, you got the FD gate and you got the BYF gate. And the FD gate is a square gate. Let's see, it's this one here. This, let me go ahead and zoom in so y'all can see this a little bit better. Whoops, wrong way. This square gate here, this is the standard kind of JLF gate that we're used to. You can see it right here. OTTO has told me that he modeled it directly off of the authentic JLF gate, and the improvements he made was it's a one-piece design, which is great because the standard JLF uses a two-piece design, so you can swap out the actual gate and change the geometry of it, whether it's like a two-way gate or an octagate or a circle gate. You can do that with this. The downfall of that is there can be some wiggling in this little insert, and it's hard to see here on the camera because it's so minor, but there's a little bit there. So he's taken that out by incorporating it into the one-piece design here. Also in the kit, you're going to get this BYF gate. Now this is a combination between the circle gate and the square gate, what he's done is he's actually changed the geometry of the square gate so the edge, or the corners rather, are more rounded. So you're going to get that perfect 360-degree feel, but you're also going to be able to find the corners. There are other gates out there for Hayabusa levers that kind of do a similar thing. He just applied it to the square gate, and it works really, really well. I'm personally a square gate guy. That's what I use in all my fight sticks. So I actually like the FD gate a little bit more than the BYF gate, but I can see why if someone wants a circle gate, this is a good choice. It's a great balance between the two, in my opinion. Now, these gates are both made out of nylon. They're not hard plastic. They're not cut plexi or anything like that, so you're not going to have to worry about the edges wearing down the actuators, which we'll get to in a minute. So that's really cool. So we're going to go ahead and just set those up off to the north there and get into some more of the parts that come in this kit. Now, I've been playing with this for about 3 weeks, and my parts have been in a couple levers, so they're kind of mixed up. But here is the next piece you're going to get in the kit. This is the OTTO DIY lever body. When we take this JLF apart, I'll show you the comparison between the two. But this is a nylon piece. It's molded nylon. It's one-piece construction, and it's very similar to the standard JLF body. No changes, significant changes there. One cool thing that you can do with this is you can put individual cherry micro switches in it, and not use the stock TYP. I think it's the TP plate. I forget the exact nomenclature of it, but the PCB board in the JLF. So you can put individual micro switches in there with the levers, whatever you want, because they will fit. So that is really cool. So that's that. Next thing in the kit that you get with all of them are these 3 actuators. Right here, they are made out of nylon like everything else, and they come in 3 different sizes, and you can tell what size they are by looking inside. It's kind of hard to tell here, but if you go to my website, jasonscustoms.com, and you look at the listing, there's a good close-up picture. He's designated which one is which by a series of little dots on the inside of the bell up here. 2 dots for 12 millimeters, 2.5 dots for 12.5 millimeters, and then 3 dots for 13 millimeters. So that's all easily identifiable there. Now, I've seen some concerns or questions out there in the internet. Hey, how are they coming up with these numbers? Where are they going to take the measurements from? I don't get it. So we're going to go ahead and look at that right now. So I'm getting out my calipers here, and I could get the design specs from OTTO. Not a problem. He's offered them to me, and we will put those up. But just so everyone can kind of see what we're dealing with, we've got this zeroed out here. Let's go ahead and take the 12 millimeter here and just go ahead and pop this into place. And what you can see is, there we go. Sorry, not the spring thing. Down here, where it actually actuates against the switches, you see that's 12 millimeters. And then, it's kind of constant all the way through. So there you go. Then we come over here to the 12.5. Hey, that doesn't fit. So if we open it up, boom, 12.5 right there. And then finally, the last, we opened up a little bit more, and boom, 13 millimeters right there. All within a little bit of margin because, the calipers are not calibrated. They're just, close enough, good enough. So there you go. So, like I said, 13 millimeters, 12.5 millimeters, and 12 millimeters. And thank you for the comment. I also like my hat. And despite the fact that the Dodgers did not win the World Series, I'm still going to support them, hometown team. And we'll just move on, and hopefully we'll go back and actually win it next year. So anyways, I digress. Back to the OTTO DIY kit. So there you go. 13, 12.5, and 12 millimeters. Oversized actuators, and we'll measure that up against, actually we can just do that right now. Hopefully I can get the calipers in there. If we look at the stock JLF, it's about 10.75 millimeters, maybe 10.5. So there you go. All right. So we'll set that off to the side. Sounds like someone's playing music outside. Nice. And that, with the exception of these little 4 screws here, which are actually really cool. They're nice brass titanium coated screws that are they've got hex heads on them to put them in, and I'm also including a small 2 millimeter hex wrench or hex key so that you can install them. You're not going to need to go out and get any special tools. Now I've got my hex key set here. I don't have any of the, I'm waiting for the individual keys to come in, but they're just a standard Allen wrench. So that will be included in the kit too. The only thing you're really going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver, and if you're doing maintenance on your fight stick as it is, you should already have one of those. So not a big concern, I don't think, for you guys. Okay, so as we discussed, body actuators and body gates and actuators all nylon. Nice brass looking screws here that add a nice little flare when you install them, so that's cool. So that comes in every single kit. You're going to get both gates, all 3 actuators, the 4 screws, and nuts, as well as the body. You're getting that in every kit, the V2 and the V5. Those are common parts. So let's go ahead and set those aside like so. And let's look at the next, the things that make these kits individually special. This is the pivot for the V5 kit. I gotta make sure I get the numbers right because I'm not a huge fan of numbering nomenclature for parts, but this is what OTTO named them, and we're sticking to it because it's his brand and it's his design and creation. So we're going to give him all of the credit where the credit is due, and we're going to keep his naming convention. I just have to program myself to understand what's going on. Okay, so this is the V2, and you'll see it comes in 2 parts. And the reason it comes in 2 parts is because you have to be able to swap out the type of pivot in the body here. Now, this is machined Teflon, both the housing, which is just kind of a standard bowl type housing, as well as the actual pivot that goes inside of it. Now, one of the benefits, or there are many benefits to Teflon. It was actually invented in like the 1940s, I think, and if I remember correctly, it was by a scientist at DuPont. And he was actually looking at coming up with some like fluorocarbons for refrigeration, and he happened to come across this Teflon material in his experiments. And what he noticed is it's super strong and durable, as well as very smooth. It's got a very low coefficient of friction. So when you take it's almost like a self-lubricating part. So when you take 2 Teflon pieces and you put them together, it just moves very smoothly. It's like skating on ice if you're wearing ice shoes. It's actually very, very smooth. So the benefits of that is you're not going to need to use a lot of grease on these. And we know that grease over time, it can degrade, not a lot, but it can also pick up dust and debris and get jammed in there, and you have to take it apart and clean it. Well, you have to use less grease, so there's less stuff for all that junk to get onto in your lever. So that's a kind of nice side benefit of this. But this is what I would consider the kind of the stock JLF upgrade kit. And this is going to keep the feel of the lever just like your stock JLF, but it's going to remove some of that friction. It's going to just make it just kind of twist around and you know, you hit those switches just so much better because you're just dealing with less friction here. And you have to really feel it to appreciate the quality of the pivot and the material benefits of Teflon here. So that's the V2. So this is what you get in the V2. You get the body, you get the special pivot, you get both of the gates, all 3 actuators and the screws to assemble it all onto some of the stock JLF parts. And we are going to do that later in the video after I get through kind of all these explanations. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set all this stuff aside here once again, all the common parts there. We're going to take this V5 kit, the pivot, and set it off to the side, put the Shinetsu over here. And now we're going to look at the V2. Now, the V2 kind of approaches the pivot very differently. Instead of using a traditional 2-piece bowl type pivot where the bowl kind of just moves around in this socket, if you will, kind of like a shoulder or your hip bone, it uses a silicon grommet to hold everything in place, and you're actually mashing the grommet back and forth instead of moving that bowl inside the pivot around. So let's go ahead and show you what that looks like, and let's take this apart. Now you get a little extra with the V5 or the V2 kit because OTTO really wants to make sure that you have a great experience and you can get attention exactly how you want it. So just like the other kit, the V5 kit, you're getting this insert for the body, and this is where the pivot sits. Then you also get this retaining clip here, as well as this red grommet, for a lack of better terms. This actually fits inside these 2 silicon rings here. Now it comes with two. He's dubbed them the 40 and the 60. You can kind of feel the difference. I call the 40 the light one. You can squeeze it a little bit easier than the 60. So the harder it is to squeeze, the more tension on your lever. So I went with the 40 when I installed it. Now this setup is not quite as straightforward as the traditional JLF pivot. So you get all these extra parts, and basically what you do is you take your silicone grommet here that you want. Like I said, I'm using the 40, and you take this red ring. There's a little groove in each of these grommets. You take the, make sure that's facing up, and you take the big side of the grommet and make sure that's facing up, and then you just kind of push it in place like that. And there you go, it kind of creates the pivot, if you will. This is what's replacing that bowl in the standard JLF. Then you take it and you stick it inside the housing here like so, and you just kind of mash it in place, get it down in there nice and good. And then you'll use this part on the body. So what's happening here is when you put the lever through here and you start moving it around, you're actually mashing this red piece against the silicone ring in here, and that's what's creating the tension as this thing moves around. And that's why this piece is important, because it actually fits on top like this and keeps it from popping out. So yeah, there you go. And you can see when you pop, oops, if you pull this out, you can see, and it might be a little difficult to see on camera. Let me see if I can get it a little bit closer for you guys and get this in focus. What's the wrong way? There you go. You can see that the walls inside here are straight. So this is just kind of a 90-degree cliff down here, 90-degree edge that this all fits into nice and easily. And that allows you to press against the silicone to create that pivot motion. So there you go. And then if you put it inside, this is kind of what it looks like all together, like so. So there you go. And that, like I said earlier, that's the 40 one, 40. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this back in focus here. Whoops, still the wrong way. This is all an indication that means I need to stream way more. All right, cool. Okay, so there you go. Now, it also comes with a 0.95 pound spring. It's a little less tension than the stock spring. You can use the stock spring with the V2 kit if you want to just kind of, you get some cool tension combinations. You can use the 1 pound spring, if you will. It comes with the JLF with the 60 pound, or not 60 pound, that's not right. The 60 grommet that's included to have a little higher tension. You can use the 60 grommet with the lower tension spring and get a slightly lower tension, get a little bit higher than a JLF spring with the 60 grommet. So you got about 4 or 5 different options, really. Actually, I think it's 4 different options on how you end up wanting to set up the tension in your lever. Now, OTTO does recommend not going with anything above the stock spring. 2 pounds, he says, is no good. You'll wear the silicone down too much because there's just too much force constantly being pressed against it. So he said he does not recommend that. One thing to note that I didn't earlier is, even though we don't really need that very low friction area around the silicone grommet, this insert is also made out of Teflon, which is great. Again, low coefficient of friction here. And sorry, I just noticed it's still way out of focus. Want you guys to have a good experience here. Okay, so there you go. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, great, all this looks great. It's replacement parts, big deal. How is this going to affect my gameplay? Is this a good kit for me? Well, I can't really answer that. I like a stock JLF. As flawed as it is, it's my favorite. That's what I grew up on. Now, I do like this kit, and I'm installing it in my 6 because it just kind of fixes some of those problems with JLF that we all just live with. But I'm not as picky, if you will, on some of these things. And what feels good to me may not feel good for you. So I can't tell you buy this on my recommendation because we may not have the same style of play and the same needs for our lever. So it's you can't convey feel necessarily through a video. And I could throw a bunch of numbers up here using dynamometers and force meters and stuff like that, but I don't have any of that equipment, and it's not really going to mean much unless you've got a calibrated hand. I don't. So there you go. All right. Now, let's talk about breaking down the JLF. There's thousands of videos out there. I'm going to do another video on it, a formal 4K video on how to take the dang thing apart and how to install this kit. But I'm going to show you guys today how you do this. So, like I said earlier, brand new JLF out of the box right from Sanwa. Phillips head screwdriver. Those are the two tools you're going to need that don't come in the kit. You're not getting JLF and you're not getting a screwdriver. But you should have JLF and you should have a screwdriver. So let's go ahead and just take these 4 screws out of the top here. And that's going to remove, the plate from the body of the JLF, because we need to use this plate for the install. We're going to set those screws aside because we're not going to reuse those. We're going to use the screws that came in the kit. All right. All right, so we got those done. We take the plate, we're gonna set that aside because we still need to use that. Just a standard JLF plate, easy. And I think this will work on the Quamba plates too. So if you have a Quamba stick that uses a Quamba lever, just use that, it's fine. All right, now we'll flip this over because we can't get any of this out. And we're gonna go ahead and remove the gate. So press these little guys here, like so, and kind of get one side off like that, and then you do the same thing on the other side, and boom, the standard JLF gate comes off. And this is what I was talking about. You can actually, let's see, it's been a while since I did this. You like push it up from this side, I think, and turn it. Which way is it? There we go. Push it up and turn it, and that comes out, and that's how you replace the gates. But 2 pieces. That means 2 pieces that can move, unless they're perfectly molded. Guess what? They're not. So let's go ahead and just put that in, twist that, because we want to save that. So we'll set that aside. Okay, next, you're going to need your switch mount here. You should be able to use this on an optical plate, no problems. You should be able to use this on the silent plate or PCB, no problems. And like I said earlier, you can use the individual switches from what Cherry makes or Panasonic or Omron. They all make these kind of switches. This is a standard size. You can take those and individually mount them. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. So that gives you some more options for the upgrade as well. But we do need this, so we're going to put this over our save pile over here like that. Okay, now we're going to need, I actually like to use a little flathead screwdriver for this part because these E-clips are kind of a pain in the butt. So I always just take my screwdriver and stick it into one of the little grooves here and use my finger to make sure it doesn't go flying. And I just kind of pry it out like that, and then boom, it releases. So you need to use this E-clip and hold on to your actuator here, because if I let that go right now, it's going to shoot up and hit that camera on the overhead, because that's under spring tension right now. So we set that off to the side, and then we slowly let the tension off. And we take our actuator and we set that aside. You can use the stock actuator if you want to, but one of the benefits of the kit is you get the oversized actuators with it. That's 3 of them, and I think they sell for like $2.95. So that's $9 that you're saving by getting them with the kit. Again, the stock JLF spring, you can definitely feel there's some more tension over the V2 kit spring, so you can use either one. We'll set that aside because you do need to use the stock one with the JLF V5 upgrade kit because it doesn't come with a spring. So we'll set that off to the side. Okay, next we're going to use the spring top hat here. It's got a little Shinetsu on it already. That's going to save us some time later, but we do need that, so we'll set that aside as well. And then the shaft will just drop out, and we are going to use that for all of the kits, so we set that off to the side as well, with the rest of the parts. Now we're kind of left with this, kind of plain JLF body that we're not going to need because we have all the parts in the kit. Now I want to show you some differences between the stock JLF pivot and the V2 upgrade pivot. Let me find a rag real quick because I'm going to pull that pivot out and it's going to be covered in grease. Give me like 20 seconds. I need to go get a piece of some paper towel. All right. So now we got just some paper towel so we don't get grease all over our hands and get it all over the office. Pull this out here like so, and here's the stock pivot covered in that Shinizu grease, and then here's the body of the JLF. Let's go ahead and just clean this out so we can see everything on the inside. Yeah. Okay, so now we got that all out. You can see here the pivot is the same as the plastic in the body. This looks like it's just standard kind of molded ABS plastic without actually getting out and trying to find the tech data sheets of this. I'm not going to say for 100% certain it's ABS. It's probably not exactly ABS, but this is definitely plastic. So clean this out, and you can see that there's grooves inside the bowl of the pivot housing here. Let me go ahead and bring this up and kind of show you guys that up close. Whoops, situational awareness here. All right. So you should be able to see those grooves inside. And if you look at the OTTO one, comparatively, look at that. There's no grooves. It's smooth. So each of those edges, that's friction. That's things that dirt and dust and debris can get into, and things, well, that's a V2 one, that pivot can rub up against. That's friction, that's bad. All right, so that's difference number one. Then we clean off, let's clean off this here and go ahead and get ourselves back into focus here. Yeah, right. Okay, clean off the pivot of the stock JLF. All right, and you can see that the OTTO has a little, maybe just a smidge more of a curve. It's not, it doesn't look to be significant, but you can definitely tell that like when you put them up to like this, the OTTO one is definitely smaller. It's a smaller pivot overall. It's maybe, just a fraction of a millimeter smaller. And then it's like a fraction of a millimeter smaller on the small side diameter. And it's actually about the same size as the major diameter at the top. Maybe it's just a half a millimeter or a quarter millimeter smaller. So there you go. You'll never confuse the two, because if you see the stock one here on my right hand, probably your left on the screen, actually has a little divot drilled into it. The OTTO one doesn't have that. That's not going to affect functionality. But this one feels like it's made out of it's probably made out of Delrin. It doesn't have the same feel as the Teflon one here. Like, I can feel some friction as I move my finger across the stock one, and I can feel the smoothness of the OTTO one here. So there you go. Different materials, different coefficients of friction, smoother feel, less smooth feel, more friction. So that's the major upgrade. We'll set that off to the side. All right. Now, we could install the V5 upgrade kit right now, but it's a pretty straightforward install. Let me just show you kind of loose fit. You take your insert here, you push it into the body like so, you take some of your Shinizu that we got here, and you just put a very, very little bit on your pivot here. You only need just a tiny, tiny bit. You don't need a lot. Again, the Teflon it's not self-lubricating, but it's so smooth it doesn't need a lot of grease. And then you would install it there, and then you kind of reassemble in reverse. You just this plate gets installed here like so, and that holds the retaining ring down. If you put your finger on the pivot, don't make sure it doesn't fall out. You'll see there's 4 hex nuts that go down here in the body. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you put those in, and you put the screws in from the top, and then it kind of tightens everything up. So there you go. Now I want to install the V2 kit, because the V2 kit is way more interesting to me. The V5 kit's great, but the V2 kit's more interesting. Okay, I appreciate the heads up on the focus. I'm trying to do two things at once. The camera does a great job with autofocus, but it'll hunt around, so I try and keep it in manual mode. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop the plate off and set that aside, and we're going to take out this V5 body here and set that off, or the V5 pivot, and set that off to the side. Okay, now here's what we do for the V2. We already put the silicon grommet in and red ring in, as well as put it in the Teflon housing. And now we're going to just go ahead and set that down into the body like so. Just line up the little nubs and it just falls into place. Not falls, you just push it into place like that. Then you take this retainer ring here, very obvious, and it just once again lines up like so and presses down into place. This ring here fits into this hole for the shaft, or excuse me, for the plate. So it kind of keeps everything aligned. You push this down and voila. Now that is installed and you are ready to bolt this down. So let's go ahead and do that now. So just go ahead and flip this upside down. The good thing about the V2 kit is you don't have to hold the whole pivot in because it's already being held in by that retaining ring. So that's pretty convenient. And I hope I didn't lose all of my nuts here. All right, they're in the bag over there. So we'll just push those down into place. And don't worry, I'm just demoing this right now. I'm going to do a formal, again, nice 4K video that I post to YouTube on how to install all this. Far less of me talking through all of this because it'll be just a good guide to go through. Let me grab my Allen wrench here, like so. All right. And like I previously mentioned, just put these screws in place like so. Whoops, and then hopefully the nuts don't fall out, and that one definitely did. So let's go ahead and stick that back in. All right, there we go. We'll just do this one at a time now. All right. I think the included Allen wrenches are going to give you guys a little bit easier time than this unwieldy thing. It's good for what it is, but I actually prefer individual Allen keys. All right. You don't have to over tighten these. You don't want to strip out any of the nylon body. It'd be hard to do it, but just work them in. Don't crank them down. You don't need to do that. Just make sure they're nice and tight, and then you'll be good to go. All right. Okay, so now we got that done. So that is what it looks like from the top. So you can see you've got your pivot, you got your nice brass looking screws here, which the exposure of the camera's killing a little bit. I got enough lights around here to make a new sun. And there you go. Now just to kind of show you, when you put the lever in like this, you can see the grommet moving around in there, and you can feel how different that is. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just really cool. So that's kind of it going around so you can see it. It's pretty neat. And you can see how it kind of springs back. Now, there's no spring on the bottom side there. That's just the natural silicon spring back. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish putting this thing together. Flip this around. We can just slide the board down like this, and that just kind of perfectly lines up. Good to go. We will put the shaft back through like this. Now, at this point, if your top hat, your spring top hat, doesn't have a little bit of Shin-Etsu grease on it, go ahead and get a little bit out of the little container we're going to send you. Just put a little dab on the top hat here, and then lower it down into place, like so. And you actually have to get it down there and then push the shaft all the way through, because it looks like it may actually interfere with your switches. Not a big deal. Then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to grab the lighter spring, put that there. And before we go too far, let's just go ahead and take a quick look at the actuator size of the JLF here, just to kind of compare it. We'll go ahead and pull that up. And yep, 10.75, well, this is 10.76, but 10.75 is probably the actual measurement, plus or minus 0.01. And so you can definitely see that your actuator being bigger is going to help get the help get you to the switches faster. All right. Now we could talk about throw and the angles and all that stuff, but I have to do a bunch of geometry and math to kind of show that all off. But let's just look at the actuators here. If we take a quick measurement here, and I'm going to just do this real unscientific and mental math. 12.54 down here at the housing where it mates up with the spring. 12.54 at the top where it meets the E-clip. So I would venture to say that these are just 90-degree angles vertical here. If we do the same thing with the stock, God damn it. We do the same thing with the stock JLF. We got 10.73, 10.75, and we go up to the top here, and we're still at 10.75. So it's the same geometry as the original, just a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, if you will. All right. So I'm not a huge fan of significantly oversized gates, so I'm just going to go, actuator, so I'm going to go with just a standard of the 12 and toss that in here like so. You just kind of lay this down, push it down, and then you can take your E-clip that we removed earlier and just line it up. And usually, let's see, oh, not today. Sometimes you can just get it by, there we go, pushing it in. If you can't get it with just your fingers because you don't have enough strength in your fingers or it hurts, you can use a pair of small pliers, one of those pliers that pop into place. So there you go. All right, now the last thing that we need to do is we need to install one of these fancy gates. I'm going to install the square gate because this is going to go into my fight stick, and you just line it up with little clips and pop it down, and there you go. Now you are fully assembled. There you go. Super easy. Now watch this. Hopefully I can capture this on screen. Look how fast. That just kind of snaps right back to place. And it's hitting those buttons. You can hear it clicking way soon. Watch this. Maybe you guys can see this on camera. I don't know if we're going to be able to. One. Look, that's not even made it up to the gate yet. And you've got almost like another 1.5 millimeters almost of travel before it hits the restrictor gate. So you're hitting those buttons, you're hitting those micro switches super fast. You have very little shaft movement you have to get to hit those. And that's all the actuator. Now, the feel of it, now that's something special because you can feel that silicon grommet working for you. It's got a neat, interesting feel to it. That's the pivot you're dealing with when you're dealing with the grommet. Now, I actually just got rid of my last Korean lever. I put it in a build for a customer. Let me see if I have another one. Check the parts bin. Yeah. All right. I'm fortunate. I have one. That's pretty good. Okay, so here is a crown. Is this a crown? Yeah, I think this is just a crown. So you can see there's a little bit of wobble on that, right? When you bounce it back. That's standard with Korean levers. Now, Waz, he's got the Golden Fanta and all these upgrades and airbags and all that stuff that do address a lot of this and change the silicon out. So you can really modify these, and they're really cool. But you can see how that's working. And as you kind of go through and you're moving this around, you can feel that silicon inside working for you for the pivot. Now, I'm not going to take this all apart and show you guys that because that'll take too long. But as you move this around, you're getting a slight hint of the same thing. Now, the grommet in here is like, it's huge. It's like this big. The grommet in here is tiny. It's smaller than a US quarter. So you're not getting the same amount of silicon movement that you would in here as you are in here, but you can definitely get the hint of it. So you get that nice crisp tension, if you will, and look at that bounce back. It's like boom, boom, straight back to zero every time. You're not getting that wobble, not at all. And with the different kits, you can put, or with the different actuators, you can get those switches to actuate even faster. Now, I personally think 13 millimeters is probably too much, if I had to guess. You're going to hit those switches. You're not giving yourself a lot of room for error there. But with how fast this thing bounces back to neutral, look at that. Here, see if you can see it that way. It's not... Look at that. It's crazy. And if you're just letting it go, you might get some snapback that hits the other button, but without hooking it up in the multimeter and checking, I can't verify it because I can't tell if it's me in a way I'm hitting two buttons or not, or two clicks or not. But oh, it's so good. Now, I don't know of many players, except if they're backdashing, they're not holding it like this. I don't know a lot of people that are just going to let it bounce back neutral without their hand on the ball top, but this is just incredible. And you can tighten that up by using the stock spring or even using the 62. So you can change all of that out. So yeah, I mean, I really dig these. So that's kind of the V2, or the V2, if you will, in a nutshell. The tension of the silicon in spring that you choose, whether it's the stock spring or the slightly less tension spring that comes with the kit, will help you kind of navigate the feel of the lever. And you've got options with it. So you can, if you don't like it first, you can kind of trade out a couple of the parts, maybe a smaller actuator, maybe a bigger actuator. Heck, maybe you can go back to the stock actuator. Whoops, I'm like looking at the camera up here. Maybe you go back to the stock actuator because you don't want it to actuate as fast, because you need a little bit more room in the actuation space. So you just have a lot of really cool options with this. And then at the end of the day, if you want to try the V2 kit, we're going to be able to offer that as a small upgrade kit, so you don't have to get the whole thing down the road. That's going to come later. We want to get these out and out in the market, and get some people to use them before we start kind of breaking up kits. But you're going to be able to do that too. So ultimately, that's the OTTO DIY in a breakdown in how you install it, and just kind of my thoughts on it. You can definitely pick one up on my website today, and it'll ship in December. They're $24.95. They're on sale. Normally they're $29.95. We are going to offer upgraded JLFs, and I actually will build every single one of these here in Japan, box them up, and send them to my warehouse in Florida, which happens just to be a room in my friend Devin's house. But we call it a warehouse because it houses my wares. And we'll get those out to you. I got to just get the rest of the kit parts in so I can start taking some time to assemble them. But we'll have those available on the shop as well. And don't worry, if you buy one of the upgraded kits, all the pieces and parts I take off of it, you're going to get that with the lever as well. So if you really say, hey man, this is not for me, you can always revert it back to stock, and it's going to be a brand new JLF, and you get to keep all the parts anyways. So my final thoughts are, to really appreciate this, you need to try it for yourself. Without sitting down and really thinking through all the technical terms and what the common gate, dead zone, actuation zone, etc., that we all use in kind of drawing it out. It's kind of hard to show, but if you're familiar with oversized actuators, that's really what that's doing. So you don't really need that explanation. The real magic in these kits, once again, is these pivots. Whether you go with the V5 pivot, which is just a super smooth Teflon, durable, self-lubricating-ish material that is highly impact resistant and just a great material to make a pivot out of, or you go with the silicon-based one that attempts to give you that Korean feel without investing in a Korean lever and having the Japanese feel still, you're going to be happy either way. I'm going to stick with the V2 kit for a while before I put the V5 kit in one of my fight sticks. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of fight sticks. Maybe I'll just put one in one and one in the other and just enjoy both of them and see which one I like long term, because you're not going to really understand or feel or get to know the lever until you use it a lot. And what may be good today may not be good tomorrow, and maybe your taste will change. Or maybe you'll like one for one type of game and the other for a different kind of game. I could definitely see the V2 being popular amongst people who have sticks that can't support a Korean lever, but they want kind of that Korean feel in Tekken and stuff like that. So that is kind of one of the benefits of these kits. I hope we were able to kind of shed some light on this kit, and I know it's super late for those of you guys in the States. If you're over here in Asia or even in some parts of Europe and you're able to tune in, great. I'm going to export this to YouTube, so you may be watching it on YouTube right now and saying, man, this guy really is an idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about. Or, hey, I've got some more questions. Can you explain this a little bit more? And talking to OTTO, we are very willing and able to answer any specific questions you guys have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an OTTO DIY section on my website, help desk, jasoncustoms.zendesk.com, where we're going to talk all about the different pieces and parts, take all the frequently asked questions, put them in there, put the answers, and make it easy for you guys to find some of those answers. Plus, we're going to update the listings and stuff like that, because I recognize there's a lot of information that could be put on there to help explain some of the stuff a little bit more, but I'm still of the opinion that it's hard to explain a feeling. And that's a lot of what this is. There's a lot of feeling involved with it when you're using it. People may be concerned with Teflon and it's going to break down over time. I really don't share that concern. These are solid pieces of Teflon. They're machined out. The people who make it have a very strong commitment to its durability and strength and toughness. So if it can handle industrial environments, or even our cooking environments, because that's the same stuff they put on our pans, it's going to be able to handle normal temperatures of your house and your use in the arcades. So I'm not terribly worried about that. The one-piece design of the gates are a huge upgrade from the stock, and I think that's going to eliminate just one more movement piece, and people are going to be super happy with that. And it comes with two gates, so you got that sweet hybrid circle BYF gate, or you got the standard FE square. All right, maybe that's better. Now you guys can hear me. From the Zoom mic, it's going to sound different. I guess my batteries died in my little wireless transmitter here. That kind of sucks. Man, my rechargeable batteries. Go with loop. Amazon Basics will fail you. Oi. I need to fire my production guy. Oh wait, that's me. Damn it. Well, I guess that's it. End stream. All right. We'll just set that in the back pocket still. Okay, so now that I don't know where we left off and where the audio exactly died, I wish this thing beeped at me or something to say, hey, it's dying. I'll leave you with some final thoughts. Ask a lot of questions, and I will get as many of the answers or explain as much about these kits as I possibly can and incorporate those in the listings and the help desk, like I previously mentioned. I'm working with OTTO, and I talk to him every single day. As a matter of fact, I talked to him about 15 times today, just because we're constantly brainstorming and thinking of new ways to improve this. I really like the mechanical solution associated with this lever. There are certain things that you can do to upgrade your levers that require physical parts that you can't overcome any other way. So for me, I think this is just a great little kit. Like I said earlier, I'm going to put this particular one in my personal Panther fight stick, my Namor fight stick here. I may actually put a black bat top on it just to make it look neat. But that's going in this one right here. Now, I'll probably put the V5 in my other Panzer once I decide to take that apart and put the artwork on it that Johnny Frey's made for me. But I just got to find some free time to do that. So I will be using these kits in all of my sticks. And I have a lot of sticks, but my 2 primary sticks I'm going to be using these in. So I can kind of bounce back and forth between them and just kind of pick and choose which one's my favorite and get some equal play time on them. So with that, I'm going to leave you with these parting words. I can't stress this enough. If you have questions, use the help desk, send me an email, jasenhicks@jasonscustoms.com, and I will get you an answer back. And if I get a lot of the same questions, I'll make sure I post that up on the help desk. Please, if you want to try one of these kits out, definitely check out the website, jasonscustoms.com. It's like right over there. You can see it kind of in gray, just underneath my logo there. And you can pick them up. I'm running out very quick. I don't think I'll have many in stock after the next couple of days. But I'm hoping we can get them out early December, maybe even late November, depending on shipping, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you. I can't read that far. I may need some glasses. But thank you for picking one up, and that's great to hear. I'm definitely interested in hearing your thoughts. As soon as we launched this, it's an interesting story. Otto immediately came back. He's like, hey, I want to try this, and I want to do this. And I'm like, all right, let's work on it. Let's do something. So he and I are becoming very, very good partners, bouncing ideas off of each other and how we can continuously make more products and more upgrades and more options for these things. So I do see some Twitch chat questions. So go ahead and shoot them in the chat, and I will be more than happy to answer them if I can. If I have to reach out to Otto, then I will do that and have to get back to you later. So please post them up. I'm here to help. I'm here to answer them. It's only 7:05, so I still got plenty of time before I turn into a pumpkin and need to go to bed. All right. All right. Okay, so the V5 page doesn't say if we use the spring from the JLF or the mod comes with its own spring. Okay, the V5 does not come with a spring. You use the stock spring. There you go. Easy day. You can use other springs if you want, but it doesn't come with one because it doesn't need to. So use the spring you've got. If you have a 1.5 pound or a smaller spring, you can use that too. I do not expect there to be any problems with heavier springs with this setup. So just use whatever you need to in whatever tension you want. The lighter, well, this is the stock JLF spring I just picked up. The lighter spring is really for the silicon grommet pivot. If that's not clear enough on my page, I will update that to make it more clear. And I hope we covered that here in the video stream today. Enough. All right. Okay, I'll take a sip of the old beer. See if there's any other questions out there. Now I'm going to have to walk somewhere to get food. Dang. You probably heard a significant audio change when I shifted over to this. My wife, she's out there playing Dragon Quest XI on the PlayStation 4, which happens to be my game, and she took it over. She's got like 63 hours in that thing. I've only got like 15. She's killing me. She's hogging the PlayStation 4. Sad, sad day. Okay. Well, it looks like there's no other questions out in Twitch land, so I appreciate you guys tuning in, and check out my partners, arcadeshock.com. If you like this sweet, sweet Street Fighter hoodie that you see... Whoops. Don't want to ruin my mic. If you like this sweet, sweet Street Fighter hoodie, you can pick it up at arcadeshock.com. They got it in gray like this. They also got a black one, which I think has the white box with the black text. Super comfortable. Awesome, awesome design. It's got so many little features here that I don't even use. But it's a really, really nice hoodie. And like I said earlier, I wear it every day because it's getting chilly outside. So being able to put it on, and with the rain that we're getting, just being able to pop the hood up and just keep some of the water off the face has been great. So definitely, definitely worth a buy. So, okay. Well, again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will export this to YouTube so people can listen to me drone on about this lever and how awesome it is and all that good stuff. I truly believe it's a great lever, and I'm really excited to get these kits out to you guys and get y'all's feedback too, because that's what really matters is what you guys think of this and whether it was a worthwhile investment or not, because that's what we need to know. I'm only one person, but everyone else I know who's used these kits love it. So I'm not terribly worried that the community is not going to like these things, and I'm confident that they've got some great durability and long-term use ahead of them. So on that note, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to me here on twitch.com. It's twitch.com/Jason's Customs. Check me out on YouTube. I don't have the Jason's Customs name. It's Angry Jason because I set that up years ago when I was angry. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Jason's Customs, facebook.com/Jason's Customs. Visit my website, www.jasonscustoms.com. You noticing a theme yet? And shoot me an email if you want, jasonhicks@jasonscustoms.com. I'm always here to help. So thank you. Continue. Hold on. Maybe too much beer tonight. Wait. Nope, not even a half can. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys later. Out.
JasonsCustoms.com. For the community, for the win.